Hey there, and welcome. So, you've got these lecture notes, and you're staring at them thinking, what in the world is all this about? Well, you've come to the right place. Today, we are cracking the code on a super powerful network analysis tool called Arkime. We're going to take those dense notes, break them down, and make it all make sense. Ready? Let's get into it. First things first, let's set the stage. Imagine you're a detective in a massive, sprawling city where millions of conversations are happening all at once, every single second. Your job? Find the one, single, malicious conversation that's a threat. That sounds impossible, right? Well, that's the exact challenge network security pros face every day. How on earth do they pull it off? So, here's our game plan. We'll start by really digging into that needle in a haystack problem. Then, we'll introduce the hero of our story, Arkime. After that, we'll pop the hood and see exactly how it works its magic. Then we'll take a quick tour of its dashboard before we wrap it all up with the key things you absolutely need to remember. Okay, so this needle in a haystack problem, it's the real deal. The amount of data flying across a modern network is just mind-boggling. Trying to sift through that manually to find one bad actor? Forget it. It's not just hard, it's literally impossible. You need a special kind of tool. One that can see everything and find anything in a blink. And that, my friends, is where Arkime enters the picture. You can think of it as a super-powered detective that's been built from the ground up to solve that exact problem of data overload. It's designed to find those tiny clues buried in a mountain of information. So what is Arkime? Well, your notes define it as an open-source tool that does three really important things. It captures all the network traffic, it indexes that traffic so it's searchable, and then it lets you analyze it. Oh, and a little heads up, maybe for an exam, it used to be called Malloc, so if you see that name, don't get confused. It's the same thing. Now, Arkime is pretty amazing, but it doesn't do all of this heavy lifting on its own. It's got a secret weapon, a seriously powerful engine running in the background, and that engine is called Elasticsearch. This is what gives Arkime its incredible speed. And what is Elasticsearch? Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is like having your own private Google, but just for your network data. It takes every single conversation, organizes it, and lets you search through it almost instantly. It's the technology that makes finding that one specific packet in a million possible. All right, so how does Arkime actually do what it does? Your notes break it down into three core functions. It's a really simple workflow that's easy to remember. Let's walk through it. So it all starts with step one, capture. Think of it like a security camera that records absolutely everything. It saves the full raw data of every conversation. Then, in step two, it indexes it all. This is the key part. It's like creating a giant, detailed table of contents for all that raw data, pulling out the key details. And finally, step three is query. This is where you, the analyst, get to play detective and use the search bar to dig through everything Arkime has stored. Capture, index, query. That's the whole process. Now, your notes also highlight a few features that make Arkime so practical. First, it has a simple web interface, so you don't have to be some kind of coding genius to use it. Second, it's super scalable, which just means it can handle the traffic of even the biggest networks. And third, you can split up its main jobs onto different computers to make sure it runs as fast as possible. Okay, enough with the theory. Let's talk about what you actually see when you use the tool. We're going to take a quick tour of Arkime's web interface. This is where a security analyst would actually spend their day, hunting for those needles in the haystack.
But before we dive in, there's one critical term from your notes we have to get straight. SPI data. It stands for Session Protocol Information, which sounds complicated, but it's not. It's just all the important metadata Arkime pulls out of the raw data, things like who's talking to whom, what port they're using, and so on. Basically, SPI data is the collection of searchable clues that you, the detective, will use.
Okay, so the interface has a few main sections, or views. The sessions view is pretty much what it sounds like, a master list of all the conversations. The SPI view is where you can start grouping and sorting that data by any category you can think of. And the SPI graph view, well, it takes all that data and turns it into easy-to-understand visuals, like timelines and charts. For when you need to dig deeper, there are some more advanced views. The connections view is really cool. It builds a visual web that shows you how different computers are all connected and talking to each other. Hunt lets you set up an ongoing search for a specific threat, and it'll even alert you if it finds a match. And finally, the files view is just your library, your evidence locker, where all the raw recordings are kept. Now, your professor really zeroed in on one particular screen, the SBI view. And for good reason. This is the heart of the tool. This is where most of the real investigative work happens. So let's break down that diagram from your lecture notes piece by piece. Okay, let's walk through the screen together. Right up top, you've got the filter bar. That's where you type in your searches. Just below that are the time controls, so you can focus on a specific window of time. That big bar chart in the middle, that's the timeline graph, giving you a quick visual of how much traffic was happening. Then over on the side, you have a general information box for a quick summary. And at the bottom is where the real magic happens, the application-specific details. This section actually changes depending on what you're looking at. So if it's web traffic, you'll see web details. If it's something else, you'll see details for that. It's incredibly smart. Okay, we've covered a lot. So what are the absolute most important things to take away from all this? Let's boil it all down to a final summary. Think of this as your cheat sheet for the exam. Here are the 4 things you've got to lock in. Number 1, what it is. It's an open source tool for analyzing network traffic. Simple. Number 2, how it works. It uses that Elastic search engine and follows the simple capture, index, query workflow. 3, why it matters. It's the solution to that impossible needle in a haystack problem. And finally, number 4, the key concept. It's all about analyzing that SPI data in its web interface. If you can remember those 4 points, you've nailed the core of this lecture. And that's a wrap on our breakdown of your Arkime lecture notes. Hopefully, it feels a lot less like a confusing mess and more like the powerful tool it actually is. So, I'll just leave you with this thought. Now that you get it, what's the very first network mystery you would want to solve?